is Voice of Korea.
This is Voice of Korea.
This is Voice of Korea.
This is Voice of Korea. Dear listeners, now we start the English language service of Voice of Korea from Pyongyang, the capital of the Democratic People's Republic of Korea. Here is a mixed chorus, song of General Kim Il-sung. enjoy your meal. Chorus. Song of General Kim Jong-il. You're listening to VOK, Voice of Korea, News Now. The Rio de Janeiro City Assembly of Brazil awarded the certificate Moção de Louvor e Reconhecimento to the respected Supreme Leader Kim Jong-un. The certificate is awarded only to the persons who performed distinguished exploits in Brazil. The City Assembly decided to award the certificate to Kim Jong-un, who has rendered immortal services to the independent reunification of Korea and the global peace and security, and is devoting his all to happiness of the people, while smashing the vicious sanctions and suffocation movements of the wholesale forces in praise of him. The certificate was recently conveyed to the DPRK Ambassador, Extraordinary and Plenipotentiary to Brazil. The monument to field guidance of the great leaders Kim Il-sung and Kim Jong-il, Shine Forever, the immortal traces printed on the land of Hwaryong, was erected in Hwaryong City. Present at the unveiling ceremony held on the 12th were officials and working people in Hwaryong City, North Hamgyong Province. Hwaryong City is associated with the immortal leadership exploits of Kim Il-sung and Kim Jong-il, who devoted their role to the economic development of the city and the improvement of people's living. Party information workers from across the country on a study tour of the revolutionary battle sites in the area of Mount Baekdu looked around different places of the Mupo bivouac. The great leader Kim Il-sung stayed there for one night with the main force of the Korean People's Revolutionary Army and put forward an operational line on advancing into the Daehongdan area in May 28 or 1939. At the Mupo angling site, they had a deep understanding of the undying exploits of the great leader Kim Jong-il, who matured a grand plan to accomplish the cause of modeling the whole society on Kim Il-sungism. Then they toured the Daehongdan area. They laid bouquets before the bronze statue of Kim Il-sung at the monument to the victorious Battle of the Musan area and paid respect to him. A meeting of youth and students from across the country to start a study tour of the revolutionary battle sites in the area of Mount Baekdu took place in the education yard before the bronze statue of the great leader Kim Jong-il in Samjeon City. Present there were Lee Il-hwan, Department Director of the Central Committee of the Workers' Party of Korea, officials concerned, officials of the Kim Il-sungist Kim Jong-il's Youth League, and marchers. The participants placed a floral basket and bouquets before the bronze statue of Kim Jong-il and paid tribute to him. A report was made by Park Sol-min, chairman of the Central Committee of the Kim Il-sungist Kim Jong-il's Youth League, which was followed by speeches. Park Bong-ju, member of the Presidium of the Political Bureau of the Central Committee of the Workers' Party of Korea, Vice Chairman of the State Affairs Commission of the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, and Vice Chairman of the Party Central Committee, made a field survey of the Kim Jong-tae Electric Locomotive Complex. He stressed the need for a number of workshops of the complex to ensure on a high level the quality of production of the passenger trains in accordance with the demand of the times, and discussed and took measures to supply materials and related accessories by units concerned in a responsible manner. Earlier, Park went around the venue of the National Technological Experience presentation, an exhibition of scientific research findings in the field of agriculture, and underscored the need to actively introduce and generalize the scientific research findings with great practical significance and technological experiences. DPRK weightlifters proved successful at the 2019 International Weightlifting Federation World Cup. Rim Jong-sim bagged 3 gold medals in the women's 76 kg category on the track. She snatched 120 kilograms and jerked 150 kilograms, 270 kilograms in total, taking the first place. On the other hand, Kim Un-ju took the second place in snatch, jerk, and total standings respectively in women's 87 kg category, and thus won 3 silver medals. Kim Ko-kyung took the second place in snatch and the third in jerk in women's above 87 kg category, and came second in total standings, winning 2 silver and 1 bronze medals. DPRK judoka Kim Jin-ah won the first place in the Qingdao World Judo Masters 2019, going on in China from the 12th. It brought together excellent men and women judokas from over 60 countries and regions, including the DPRK, Russia, France, and Canada. In the finals of the women's 57 kg event on the 12th, Kim Jin-ah defeated her Japanese rival by making best use of a 40 and mounting active offensive, winning a gold medal. Announcement of a spokesman for the Academy of Defense Science of the Democratic People's Republic of Korea. A crucial test took place again at the Seoul satellite launching site between 22 hours 41 minutes and 22 hours 48 minutes on December 13, 2019. The defense scientists had the great honor of hearing the warm congratulations from the Party Central Committee on the spot. The research findings in defense science we have recently made in succession will be applied to further strengthening the reliable strategic nuclear war deterrence of the DPRK.
Park Jung-chun, Chief of the General Staff of the Korean People's Army, gave a statement to media on the 14th. The statement reads, "I am very pleased that the Academy of Defense Science has recently been achieving great successes in the strengthening of defense capability by successfully making tests of crucial meaning in succession. The precious data, experiences, and new technologies of the recent tests for researchers of defense science will be applied to the development of another strategic weapon of the Democratic People's Republic of Korea to contain and dominate the nuclear threat of the United States, definitely and reliably. When the balance of strength is thoroughly ensured, it is possible to defend genuine peace and guarantee our development and future." we have stockpiled a tremendous strength. We should be ready to cope with the political and military provocations of the hostile forces, and we are not allowed to be unfamiliar to dialogue and confrontation. Our army is fully prepared to thoroughly implement any decision of the Supreme Leader in action. Of course, they may have the liberty of estimating the entity of our strength, but it will be necessary for them to clearly see it before they act. In the acute situation of confrontation, the hostile forces, including the United States, may be in easy circumstances at the year end when they refrain from any words and action getting on our nerves.
The Soguang Temple has been wonderfully restored to its original state. Its inaugural ceremony took place on the 12th. Present there were officials concerned, officials of provincial level institutions, officials and working people in Khosan and Andean counties, and employees of the Provincial National Heritage Protection and Management Agency. An inaugural address was made at the ceremony. At the end of the ceremony, the participants looked around the restored Soguang Temple. Kim Won-hwan, advisor to the National Education Central Measure Committee of the General Association of Korean Residents in Japan, on a visit to the socialist homeland on the occasion of the 60th anniversary of the repatriation of Koreans from Japan, as head of a thanks-offering group of Koreans in Japan, was interviewed by the Korean Central News Agency on the 13th. Kim Won-hwan said the world people praised the repatriation of Koreans from Japan at the time as a great racial migration from capitalism to socialism. He said, all Koreans in Japan express deep gratitude to the great leader Generalissimo Kim Il-sung, who formed the General Association of Korean Residents in Japan, a dignified overseas Koreans organization, and opened the road of repatriation of Koreans in Japan. The immortal exploits of the great leaders who opened the road of repatriation and travel of Koreans in Japan will be told forever in the history of the nation. The noble love for the nation and compatriots of Generalissimos Kim Il-sung and Kim Jong-il has been invariably carried forward by the respected Supreme Leader Marshal Kim Jong-un. The socialist homeland led by Kim Jong-un is a genuine cradle of life of Japan resident Koreans, he added. The 20th Conference of the World Federation of Democratic Youth held in Cyprus supported the just cause of the Korean people. The statement of the World Federation of Democratic Youth to support the Korean people and youth in their struggle for durable peace and reunification of the Korean Peninsula was adopted on the 6th. The statement said, even after 1 year since the adoption of the June 12th DPRK-US joint statement, no progress has been made in the DPRK-US relations, and the situation on the Korean Peninsula has failed to free itself from vicious cycle of escalated tensions. Preventing war and achieving solid peace in the Korean Peninsula are a contribution to ensuring global peace and security, the statement said, and called on progressive people and youth of the world to actively join in the struggle of the Korean people to defend the sovereignty and dignity of the country and put an end to the danger of war in the Korean Peninsula. Meanwhile, a statement of solidarity against imperialism was adopted at the Asia-Pacific Regional Meeting of the World Federation of Democratic Youth on the 5th. The statement extended full support and solidarity to the Korean people and youth in their struggle to establish a durable peace regime in the Korean Peninsula and achieve reunification of the country with the united efforts of the nation without interference of foreign forces. It wished the DPRK prosperity under the wise leadership of the respected Supreme Leader Kim Jong-un.
And that's the end of the news read by Kim Hyun-ok and Lee Hyung-sim. This is Voice of Korea.
This time we present the song Ode to Comrade Kim Jong-il, created in Juche 81 or 1992.
Dear listeners, days go by in December along with precious memory of the great leader Kim Jong-il. Today we introduce some of the letters which praise the exploits made under his Sungun-based revolutionary leadership. In Juche 84 or 1995, the world's attention was focused on the Democratic People's Republic of Korea. World people wondered which way Korea would take, as the Korean nation suffered great misfortune of losing the great leader Kim Il-sung unexpectedly. On January the 1st, the news of Kim Jong-il's visit to the post in Pine Woods was reported to the whole world. His field inspection of the post in Pine Woods caused a great sensation worldwide as a shocking event in Pine Woods. John Douglas of Britain sent a letter to us which reads, "Despite the adversities of pressure to fight off the imperialist and Southwest forces seeking to destroy the great country built on the basis of the Juche ideal, the great leader Kim Jong-il, through his words and actions, demonstrated brilliance and wisdom by enforcing the Sungun policy." Through his field inspection of the post in Pine Woods, Kim Jong-il showed his resolve to further strengthen the People's Army and win the final victory of the Korean Revolution with arms all over the world without any speech or solemn declaration. He made an uninterrupted long march of Sungun or military-first politics under the banner of Sungun. Despite the intense cold of midwinter and the sultry weather of midsummer, he called at the Seoul Pass, Mount Osong, and Toalet many a time, crossing dangerous sharp-cut cliffs and plowing the raging sea route. Those outposts of national defense and the socialist construction sites, such as Gangge, Songgang, Gangsun, and Rawon, are still telling about his devoted efforts. In the history of Sungun politics, enforced by him, the revolutionary armed forces of Korea were incomparably strengthened, the peace of the country and the sovereignty of the nation reliably defended, the wealth of the country increased, and the solid foundation of prosperity laid. As regards the surprising reality of Korea, listeners to Voice of Korea in their letters praised that Korea could overcome the severe trials such as the great national misfortune in 5,000 years, continued natural disasters, and the offensive of the imperialist allied forces to isolate and suffocate it, those trials to which other countries would have yielded 100 times thanks to the unique Sungun politics of General Kim Jong-il. Listeners and dear friends in a number of countries still remember the great exploits performed by Kim Jong-il and send us letters representing their reverence for him. Hato Sanyal of India in his letter wrote, "Kim Jong-il's immortal ideas and deeds, the great achievement of his living life, will always be a source of inspiration to North Korean people and workers all over the world. Kim Jong-il's genius illuminates the path of revolutionary struggle and creative endeavor." David Payne of the United States in his letter wrote that the great leader Kim Jong-il is the eternal glory, and John Douglas of Britain sent us a letter saying that the world movement realizing the Juche idea for the interests of the world people will never forget Kim Jong-il. The history of victory of the Korean Revolution, clearly written along with the Sungun politics of Kim Jong-il, is invariably going on thanks to the respect to the supreme leader Kim Jong-un. Kim Jong-un intends to build a powerful socialist country with the People's Army in the van. Under his outstanding leadership, many monumental creations have been built in the DPRK, including the apartment houses for educators of Kim Il-sung University, the Ma Sung-young Ski Resort, the Medium Riding Club, Unha Scientist Street, Media Scientist Street, Ryomyeong Street, and the Sci-Tech Complex. Thanks to him, the achievements made under the Sungun-based revolutionary leadership of Kim Jong-il will shine forever, and his desire to build a powerful socialist country will surely come true. You've been listening to our regular program, Listener's Mailbag. This is VOK, Voice of Korea.
Now you will listen to the electric violin duet, His Life. You will listen to the song, we think of the marshal awake or asleep. He gives field guidance day and night. His love for the people is increasing. With increasingly deep thanks, ardent desire to hold him in higher esteem, we wish Marshal Kim Jong-un good health, awake or asleep. Now here is trumpet solo, snowflakes falling in the night sky. Here is orchestral music, Hold High the Red Flag, performed by the National Symphony Orchestra. you will appreciate female chorus, Our Road of March.
Dear listeners, with this we conclude the English language service of Voice of Korea from the Democratic People's Republic of Korea. Voice of Korea presents its English language service for Europe between 15 and 16 hours UTC, between 18 and 19 hours UTC, between 21 and 22 hours UTC, and between 13 and 14 hours UTC on 7,570 kHz and 12,015 kHz. For North America, between 15 and 16 hours UTC and between 13 and 14 hours UTC on 9,435 kHz and 11,710 kHz. And for Northeast Asia, between 4 and 5 hours UTC and between 6 and 7 hours UTC on 7,220 kHz, 9,445 kHz, and 9,730 kHz. Goodbye, this is Pyongyang.